Hey everybody, I'm doing my preview of the Ravens draft for next week. As this is a big time for a lot of NFL fans, we get to see the future of our respective teams and possibly the future superstars and everything like that. But most importantly, a lot teams that could fix the needs that they have by going in and getting the top young talent out of college football. So I created a little PowerPoint presentation of what I think the Ravens should go after, and my wish list for the Baltimore Ravens going into the draft next week. So I'm going to get right into it here. And so here, the first pick I have Mike Williams, wide receiver out of Clemson, is 6'3", 203 pounds. Strong catcher. He's definitely got great hands, like an AJ Green or a Julio Jones type with his hands. As a jump ball guy, he definitely get up there, definitely get those 50-50 balls when it's one-on-one against a cornerback or a safety. He's a red zone monster. Great wide receiver as far as scoring 7 points. The weaknesses he does have is not breakaway speed by any means. He doesn't really have a strong route tree. He might mainly just kind of does like Perryman does. Perryman has the speed, but Mike Williams has that ability. Like if there's another wide receiver on the squad, if he gets that one-on-one coverage, a lot of times, especially if Flacco with a kind of arm that he has, will be able to get the ball to him so he can just go up and catch the ball. The reason why I like Mike Williams because he reminds me of a young Anquan Boldin. Anquan Boldin was not fast by any means, but he was able to get in space, catch the ball, or fight for the ball, snag the ball down, whatever. He was short-handed. That's what Flacco needs. Flacco needs a guy that can go up and get the ball. Having an Antonio Brown type player, he's speed and shifty and things like that is great and everything, but for a guy like Flacco who likes to throw the ball hard and throw the ball sometimes in the tight coverage, you need to have a receiver that can come out and get the ball. I have him projected to go in the first round. The way it seems right now for the draft, it appears that he's going to go ahead and probably drop down to around the 20s in the draft. The way they've done mocks so far, and the mocks I've done for myself, he's definitely a possibility to be there. It's one of those things that either's going to go really early or he's going to drop right down. He's going to go in the first round, no doubt, but he's going to drop down. I'm hoping the Ravens, if he's there, that's pending, the pick I go with next. But if he's there, I think they have to go ahead and take him. I really like this wide receiver. I know they got Bashar Perriman already, but I think they need a guy that can throw the ball to and get up and just get the ball. Having height on the offense is paramount in this league, especially when you got cornerbacks who are like 5'10", 5'11". If you got a 6'3", 6'4" guy that can go up and just snag the ball from him, that's an asset you got to have, especially the talent that he is at Clemson. Now, he did have that scary injury 2 years ago where he ran into the goalpost and injured his neck. So they're going to have to definitely be looking out for that. I think that's the main reason why he's dropping down so many boards, because it may be some teams are a little worried about that neck injury and what could his long-term capability, his long-term production would be in the NFL. But that's my favorite wide receiver pick. The next wide receiver pick, a lot of according to Ravens website and in general going across the league, and a lot of pundits have said this guy Corey Davis out of Western Michigan at 6'2", 205 pounds will probably be the pick that the Ravens select. Not many mocks have the Ravens picking Mike Williams, but a lot of them do have them picking Corey Davis if he's there at 16. Strength, great speed, tracks the ball well, high point catcher, works back to the ball. I like the fact that he works back to the ball, especially when you consider how many times as Ravens fans we complain about wide receivers on the Ravens staff not being able to come back to the ball when Flacco gets in trouble or getting open. If he can come back into the ball and help Flacco out, that would be a big boost for that. Like I said, he has great speed, can get down the field. Another one of his weaknesses, though, is focus drops. He has those same issues that Bashar Perriman has. Drops the ball a little bit too much. They said he's not good at catching out of frame throws. So anything like on the outside or up here, anything outside of his general frame, he's not catching. He's not really good at that. And granted, Flacco is a pretty accurate passer, but from time to time, as a wide receiver, you're going to need to catch those out of frame, those balls. You got to make the catch. Like you said, if the old motto is, if you're a wide receiver, if it gets you, put your hands on it, you got to catch it. So from time to time, you're going to have to make catches like that, especially at the pro level. Now, the one thing I saw another weakness was he didn't play, didn't face a lot of press coverage in college. Granted, he didn't play in a big conference. Didn't face a lot of top talent as far as, a lot of the guys he went up against at the secondary aren't going to go in a draft this year, so are not going to be NFL talent. So, and he said he didn't play a lot of press coverage. Now, when he gets to the NFL, he's going to face some press coverage. So that's going to be another question. Can he be able to get good separation? Can he, get down the field, like I said, catch the ball out of the frame and stuff? My thing is with Corey Davis, it seems like to me that he's going to need some coaching up as far as developing him into a good wide receiver. The Ravens have not been good at developing any wide receivers. They need a guy that can come in right away. That's why my pick for the wide receivers part, especially in the first round, is Mike Williams. He's ready to go. You can work on the route tree or whatever, but the guy catches the ball. Hands down. He has, like I said, some focus drops, but if you throw the ball in the air, he's coming down with it. I saw him play at Clemson the last 3-4 years. The man is phenomenal. He's one of the best wide receivers. And Clemson has done a pretty good job of picking wide receivers in the NFL lately. So, next pick I'm looking at Cam Robinson. Now, a lot of people may see that this may be like this is not the sexy pick and in the first round. But like I said, the way Corey Davis and Mike Williams are looking, these guys could definitely go way before the Ravens. So if Cam Robinson is there, and then the next pick I'm going to show, that also depends too. But Cam Robinson out of Alabama, an offensive tackle. He played left tackle at Alabama. 6'6", 322 pounds, a big dude. Perfect size for a tackle. They said he's a great drive blocker. He can slide over and pick up rushers, especially on the inside when they blitz on the inside. His weaknesses does not sustain blocks well. Aggressive rushers could get the best of him. So guys like J.J. Watt or maybe even a younger James Harrison type player would come in and probably cause him some issues. But as of right now in the AFC North, I don't see that aggressive edge rusher. Maybe if the Browns go ahead and draft Myles Garrett out of Texas A&M, that's a defensive end that could definitely maybe cause him some issues. But the good thing about Cam Robinson is the Ravens wouldn't need him to play left tackle. They already have Ronnie Stanley, who's already proven to be a solid left tackle in this league so far. What the Cam Robinson would do is play that right tackle spot. By losing Ricky Wagner, they have a gap. They have a hole there. I don't see anyone on this roster or Hurst or anybody that can really replace him. So drafting a guy like Cam Robinson, if he's available, would be a perfect fit for the Ravens. You anchor both ends of that line. You still got Yonda at guard. You may have Urshel at guard. And I'll have another pick as well at center coming up in my draft wish list. But at least you shore up the edges to provide Flacco a little bit of time to at least sit in that pocket and get the ball. Too many times last year we saw Flacco running for his life because guys are getting around the edges and he has to scramble out and try to make throws on the run, getting hurt or whatever else like that. We need Flacco to stay upright. The Ravens need to put some more money, I think, and emphasis into getting that offensive line straight. Yonda isn't getting any younger. He did have some injuries last year, and we could probably expect that to happen a little bit more down the line. So he's not going to play forever. So they got to stop shoring up this thing quickly. And if he's there, I think take him. A lot of people have him going into the second round, actually, if they pick him as being a left tackle. But I think the Ravens have a benefit from having him. Will have him at right tackle. I think it'll be a big benefit for the Ravens. A big dude, solid guy, played at Alabama. Alabama produces a lot of the best talent in the nation. So I think he'll be a good fit there, projected round 1. Now, next pick. Now, this is Derek Barnett, edge rusher out of Tennessee, 6'3", 258 pounds. This pick for me, Mike Williams, I would love to have Mike Williams. The Ravens desperately need an edge rusher. There's not many weaknesses for this guy. He was very highly productive at Tennessee. He was a sack artist in college, and especially considering he's playing the toughest conference in college football, the ability to stand out among a lot of great defensive players in that conference. He's a hard hitter. he actually can play zone. So that means he can actually step out if they don't need him to rush and play a little bit of that little flat area to stop running backs from getting the ball, or even tight ends if they want to play underneath routes. So he's really good at doing that as well. And then winning the battle against tackles. So he's able to he's apparently an awesome hand fighter. So he can get in there, push their hands out of the way, and get to the pass rusher. Weaknesses are they said he starts a little slow early on in the seasons. He can over pursue at times by taking wide angles and not getting that interior move going into the quarterback. They said quarterbacks that can move in the pocket well may give him fits. But I think the benefit here of Derek Barnett, if he's there at number one, even if Mike Williams is available, if Derek Barnett isn't there at if there for the Ravens, they have to take Derek Barnett. I've been a little iffy on Mike Williams. I said I would love to have him, but obviously you don't know how he's going to turn out as far as the NFL talent and being a number one wide receiver. But we know for sure, I guarantee it, Derek Barnett is going to be one of the top rushers in the NFL for the near future. They have to get an edge rusher. Dumerville, he may come back, I think, maybe after training camp or so if they sign him late. Terrell Suggs is probably playing his last year as a Raven. I would think Derek Barnett would definitely benefit by having Suggs there. Suggs is the same type of player. A lot of people criticize Suggs when he came in the league for being sluggish and coming to camp overweight and things like that. Terrell Suggs is a guy, when young Terrell Suggs was one of the most dominant defensive pass rushers in the game. So I think he could help him at least for this year while he's still there to get Barnett into the routine of being an NFL pass rusher and learn those moves and things like that. They kind of hone his skills a bit. And if the Ravens don't do anything well, they do draft good defensive rushers and defensive players in general. So my favorite pick for round one goes to Derek Barnett. If Derek Barnett isn't there, I think the next pick for me has to go to Mike Williams. If Derek Barnett is not there, if Mike Williams and Derek Barnett not there, goes to Corey Davis. And I think the last round for me would maybe go to Cam Robinson. Now the next pick, Marlon Humphrey, cornerback out of Alabama, 6 foot, 196 pounds. This guy's a lockdown corner, student of the game, athletic. He's a quick learner. He comes from a long line of NFL players in his family. Weaknesses are, they said he can get faked out by the play action. He can be beat by a solid route runner. So guys like an Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, your solid wide receivers will probably give him fits. But the good thing is he's not asked to come in and be the number one corner. You got Jimmy Smith already. You got Tavon Young. You just signed Brandon Carr. So he's not going to be asked to come in and take over that number 2 spot immediately. So he can work his way in and be that nickel or that dime package cornerback, and you have a solid secondary there. Now, I know cornerback is it's a need for the Ravens only because Brandon Carr, he had an injury last year. While he's been solid for most of his career, he was hurt all of last year. He's not a turnover specialist, but he does, he plays the receivers well and things like that. But Marlon Humphrey, I said, is a lockdown guy. He plays to play on an island. He's fine out there. He doesn't need any extra help, allowing the linebackers and safeties to kind of freelance and cover who else they need to cover without having to provide help. We got guys like Marlon and Jimmy Smith on the edges that can cover wide receivers. That is a luxury that the Ravens would love to have. Now, I don't think he's going to fall that far to the Ravens. I think he's going to get picked a little bit ahead, maybe by the Jaguars or the Tennessee Titans. But I definitely think he's not going to be there for the Ravens to go ahead and pick. If he falls that far, fine, great. But I think if Derek Barnett is there, you got to take Derek. They need an edge rusher. Having those edge rushers be able to get to the quarterback in 3 seconds or less makes the secondary look a lot better than what it is. And on average, a lot of cornerbacks say that, a lot of defensive coordinators say a cornerback can only cover wide receivers for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. So if you're not getting to the pass rusher, I don't care how good the corners are, at some point those receivers are going to get open. So they got to have a guy that can rush the ball. That's why I'm going with Derek Barnett, first round. That's my pick for the Ravens. I would be happy with Marlon Humphrey. Like I said, I don't think he's going to get that far, but funnier things have happened in the NFL draft before. But yeah, I think my 1-2 are definitely Derek Barnett and Mike Williams. That's my wish for the first round. Now, going into like a kind of late first round, early second round, guys that may fall, we got Dalvin Cook, running back out of Florida State, 6 foot, 209 pounds. Strengths, they said he's a young Edgerrin James. So Edgerrin James, obviously out of University of Miami, was a solid running back in those Peyton Manning offenses in the Colts era. I'm sorry, in the Peyton Manning era when he played for the Indianapolis Colts. He was overshadowed, obviously, by how good Peyton Manning was, but he was so productive. He was a Pro Bowl running back, set records while he was there with the Colts. Solid. I mean, he's solid. Guaranteed. Only issue with him is he's not an every down back. He's not a back that's going to carry the ball 30 times a game. He's not that big, like I said. He's only 209 pounds. He's not a running back that can run between the tackles. He has to bounce it outside because of his speed, but he is a home run hitter. He always has his feet moving. He's very elusive, kind of like a Kenneth Dixon type. And so with Dixon out now with 4 games, Dalvin Cook looks a little bit, like a sexy pick for the Ravens. If they were to trade up into the early second round to try to go get him, if he's there, if he's still available. Other issue for him, though, he fumbles the ball a lot. We know how Harbaugh is in his doghouse with guys who fumble. He likes to put them on the bench and never use them again, and he's not good at pass blocking. The Ravens need a guy that can get in there and help provide some kind of pass blocking. If there's going to be a standalone running back in there, they need somebody that's going to be able to help block for Flacco if somebody gets through. It's going to happen at some point, so you got to be able to block. But he is there. Like I said, his home run capability cannot be overlooked. He is a homer. He gets the ball in open field. He's one of the most dangerous players in the draft. Like I say, he's a late first round, early second round pick. He was only really there, I think, if the Ravens really want him to trade up in the second round, maybe trade some later round picks to go up and get him. Next pick, probably the most intriguing player in the draft, safety / cornerback / linebacker. I know I didn't put it up there, but he's literally played almost every position in the back part of the defense. Jabrill Peppers out of Michigan, 6'1", 214 pounds. This guy is the epitome of what a football player is. He's athletic. He played linebacker. He played cornerback. He played safety. He was a punt returner, kick returner. He did it all. He played special teams. This guy has played every position. He's a pure football talent. Great returner in college. The knock on Jabrill Peppers and why he's actually fallen a lot in this draft and even in going into the second round is because no one knows where to put him. He's going to be one of those guys that they have to figure out where he's going to be. He's a jack of all trades, but he's a master of none. He's not particularly good in any particular spot because he's never in college was never pigeonholed into a position. They just want him on the field to just kind of roam around, do what he does best. They said that another problem with him is he likes to hit with his body instead of wrapping up. That is a problem that can lead to penalties. When you see how the NFL is not cracking down on those aggressive hits. So when they see a hit like that, if you're just leading with your body, a lot of times you lead with your head, things like that, because there are some flags, cause some issues. But he is a phenomenal player. If he goes to the right system, he could be a dominant player. But they got to figure out where he wants to be. I don't think he's big enough to be a linebacker. I say he's only 214 pounds and he's 6'1". So he's not going to be a middle or outside linebacker, but definitely a safety and maybe a nickel cornerback. Definitely. He's a playmaker. He's a playmaker as far as he has his eye on the ball. He hasn't actually caused any I think he's had one interception the whole time he's been there. But I feel like he has a knack for the ball. I think he wants to make plays, definitely. He seems like a really good playmaker. If the Ravens want him there, I don't think the Ravens are going to take a chance on him. I think there are other more polished secondary guys in the draft that they can go ahead and take right away because the Ravens and Harbaugh, especially on the hot seat, he wants to win right away. So I don't think Harbaugh has time to develop a type of player. Especially depending what happens, could be some coaching changes, and wherever the coach comes in may not want a guy like Jabrill Peppers. He's like say maybe too raw, may not be willing to work with him and to trade him anyway. So I think they're going to want a more polished guy, and that's what takes me to my next pick, Quincy Wilson, cornerback out of Florida, 6'2", 212 pounds. This guy's got great size, very competitive, solid on play action awareness, good at playing the run. He's good at coming up into the box, stopping the run play, tackles the ball. He tackles like the Darius Webb did in his younger days. Darius Webb was actually really good against the run. He's another type of that player. They said the problem with him is he can't track down speed wideouts, so if they do get past him, he doesn't have that speed to catch up with them. And they said he plays awfully too much. Doesn't really play crash coverage a lot. Even though he's 212 pounds, he's a big guy. He doesn't play press coverage a lot, so they're going to have to need to teach him how to do that. I said the Ravens are good at molding defensive guys into what they want them to be. So, like I said, they could teach him to be more press coverage and not play off as much, be more physical cornerback. Like I said, he's got the size. 6'2", 212 is a big guy. He's a wide receiver, he's like almost like a wide receiver type build. So he can definitely challenge a lot of those smaller wide receivers. I have projected going in round 2, just because there's Marlon Humphrey, Marshawn Lattimore, and a couple others that will probably surpass him. But this is a very deep draft as far as finding edge rushers and secondary guys. The next pick, what I think was really going to happen, is that Chidobe Awuzie, from out of Colorado, 6 foot, 192 pounds, another big cornerback, over 6 foot. Jimmy Smith would love to have this guy only because a Colorado guy, I'd love to have him. Perfect guy to have. A big corner, is good at press coverage, good at turning his head around deep balls so he doesn't get hit with the pass interference stuff. Could play on special. He's good on special teams, so good at being a gunner and maybe tackling a returner or maybe even blocking punts, things like that, or blocking field goals. Only problem is they say he's handsy down the field, not a strong tackler. Plays smaller than what he actually is. So, depending what teams already have, I think he's definitely a late first round, early second round pick. But I think he can fall to the Ravens. I think he's a guy that's definitely there. The Ravens could definitely use that, right away. Definitely as a number 3 guy. If they feel like Tavon Young is there to be that number 2 guy, give me number 3 and play that press coverage guy. Or he can move to number 2 even there as well. But now I'm going to go to my next pick. Carl Lawson, edge rusher out of Auburn, 6'2", 260 pounds. He's an interesting pick only because he was a first round in the early mocks. Earlier at the end of the season, he was a first round draft pick. First round draft pick in a lot of these mock drafts, and now he's fallen and projected even round 3. So a lot of it has to do with his injury concerns. He's not can't stay healthy for any reason. So he's got some problems there. So he's got to fix that. That's one of those things you can't coach. You just got to hope he stays healthy. But he's very powerful. Play with his hands in the ground or standing up and blow up the pass blockers. If he's there in round 3 and the Ravens have 2 picks in the third round this year, I would love them to take him in the third round. I said he's there. He's available. The only issue is injuries. Do you take a chance on a guy that has a lot of injuries, with a pick that you expect to, start right away? Who knows? I don't know what the Ravens want to do there. But next pick, I think is very intriguing. Center, Pat Elflein. I can't pronounce his last name. Elflein. Ohio State, 6'3", 295 pounds. This guy is a locker room magnet. This guy is he's a leader. He's been there for all 4 years at Ohio State. Played in the Big Ten. Great work ethic, especially what you need at center. He's extremely smart. So having him right next to Yanda, I think would be great for Yanda because he wouldn't have to tell him what to do per se. He would pick it up right away. They said he's great at getting the guys kind of, amped up, ready to go, keeping the line, knowing their assignments and things like that. He said he's solid pass blocker and great awareness. Weaknesses, though, he struggles against A-gap blitzers. So anybody that comes through right on top of him, he may have issues grabbing them and kind of timing it just right with snapping the ball and blocking them. But I think that's something you can teach, and guys like Yanda can definitely help him with that. They say he struggles at times with finesse moves from interior linemen as well. So those defensive ends that will not necessarily bounce outside, but will definitely put that hook in and come inside. He tends to have issues with that. But this guy, he's a solid producer at Ohio State, and I think a lot of stuff that he's had weaknesses with, he can definitely they can definitely work with him on that, especially with guys like Yanda there. You got Ronnie Stanley. So I think they can definitely work with him there. Now, this next pick, Carol Phillips out of Illinois. He is 6'3", 242 pounds. He's had some off-the-field issues. He's only played 1 year as a starter at defensive end, as an edge rusher for Illinois. He was the size is great, 6'3", 242. They say he's a solid tackler, great burst off the line. Can play outside linebacker, so he doesn't have to put his hand in the ground. He can play on the outside as well. They said the problem is, though, he's still very raw. They feel like Dwayne Smoot out of Illinois is a better pick than he is because he's a little bit more polished. So he's a little bit raw. But I said because the Ravens have a track record of developing guys better, and he's a later round pick, 4th, 5th round, so you're not wasting too high of a pick on him. I think if Dwayne Smoot is not there, I think he'd be, which I think is going to happen, then he'll be a good pickup in that 4th or 5th round for the Ravens, definitely for them. My next pick, Ryan Switzer out of UNC. He's 5'10", 174 pounds. You say he's a Wes Welker type of receiver. He's a high volume catcher. He catches, at least 8, 9, maybe 10 balls a game. He's definitely a shifty runner, runs underneath routes. Was a great returner in college. Ran back 4 touchdowns while he was at UNC. Weaknesses though, he catches with his body, doesn't really catch with his hands, so that means drops. Needs pass to be accurate to make the catch, so he doesn't really catch anything over his head or anything to the side. So it's got to be right on top, right at him. The great thing though about Ryan Switzer, what I like, what the Ravens could use with him, depending what the coordinator does. You can have Ryan Switzer back there if you have, let's say, Kenneth Dixon or Terrence West as a split back, where he could be out there and run out to the flat and catch the ball and then make a play or run underneath routes, things like that. You don't necessarily have to have him line up on the line of scrimmage and try to break away from bigger corners and things like that. You could have him and utilize him as that scat back on the side, so he could catch the ball. He said he's a 6th round pick, so he doesn't really waste a lot, but I think you get a lot out of him. I think you would be maybe another Campanaro type player. With the Campanaro and his injury issues, I think this would be a good depth pick for the Ravens and more shifty type of running quarterback. A wide receiver that the Ravens could use and utilize in that underneath route. We saw how well the Ravens, when Campanaro was healthy, how well he played. So I think having a couple guys like that and having the ability to return punts and return kickoffs is definitely a need the Ravens have since it was Jacoby Jones, and they haven't really replaced him since. Now, my last pick, which I think this is while the other picks I like and things like that, this is a guy I think the Ravens need to have. They have him projected going in the 7th round, maybe not even getting drafted at all. A lot of people don't want to. The scouts said that he's too small, and a lot of it has to do with his size. He's 6'1", 229, and for an inside linebacker, they would rather him be 6'3", 6'4", things like that. But this guy is a strong competitor. I've watched him play for 3 years at Clemson. This guy is the heart and soul of that Clemson defense, and putting him right next to C.J. Mosley, I think would be paramount. They need some attitude on that defense, and this guy brings a lot of it. They say he's good at reading quarterbacks, what they say. He's very tough, plays with a chip on his shoulder, always has, forces turnovers. So he actually punches the ball out, tips the ball up, catches. He actually makes interceptions. They said he's small, undersized, average lateral quickness, short arms. They say can be swallowed by bigger offensive players like maybe linemen and even tight ends. But what I see with him is that what they said about Ray Lewis when he came in, they said the same thing about Ray Lewis when he came into the league, that he was too small. They have great lateral quickness. I think they give him a shot. Maybe they find somebody else in the 7th round they want to pick, but I think that they definitely sign him to bring him into training camp and give him a shot. I think he's worth it. I think he would actually end up being a better talent than Correa would be. Correa was an outside linebacker who the Ravens drafted last year who got hurt. They're trying to transition him into an inside linebacker, but this guy plays inside linebacker. He played for the national championship Clemson Tigers, been in the national championship twice. They say he's the heart and soul of that defense. I think this guy is getting highly undervalued, and I think the Ravens would be foolish to not take him. But that's my little wish list for right now, and I will do a post draft video afterwards to kind of analyze the picks and see what happens, see what the Ravens do. I said these picks were pending. No trades or anything like that, but the Ravens do have 8 picks, I think, in the draft this year. So they may do some trading and stuff like that to see to get players they want. So they may not pick any of the players I pick. Who knows? That's how funny the draft can be. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe to more of my videos. And so I'll have a post-draft video as well to analyze the picks and kind of see where they fit with the Ravens scheme. That's my little video, and I will see you guys later. Peace.